There are more bomb and feeder leagues now than there ever has been, especially in the colder months. And one league that has just finished is the Aero Bomb and Feeder League, held here at Lindholme Lakes in Doncaster. Now this is a weight-based league, so there are 12 matches that count in this league. From these 12 matches, only 8 count. So your best 8 results, your largest weights of the 8 matches count towards the total. This year was even more tricky because due to poor weather conditions with the lakes being frozen over, we lost one of the matches, so only 11 matches counted in the league. Now this event really does draw some of the best feeder anglers around, especially for an event that's up north. People joke that anything north of Watford is classed as up north. We've returned to see a familiar face here at Lindholme Lakes, and also the winner of the Aero Feeder League, none other than Alex Dockerty. Alex won the league this year with a staggering £555. But if you think he had it all his own way, he didn't, because second place was just £9 behind. Now when you consider this is over an 11 match period, it just shows the quality of what Lindholme Lakes has to offer. Now Alex is just setting up behind us, and he has agreed to show us the 2 main tactics that helped him win this Aero Bomb and Feeder League. Good morning, Alex, how are you doing?
Good morning, Steve. Yeah, not too bad. It's a bit of a fresh one though, isn't it?
Well, I know it's the first week of March, but yes, it is very cold. Congratulations, first of all, on winning the Aero Bomb and Method Feeder League.
Yeah, it's a brilliant league. You know, we're up to around 40 anglers now. We're into, I think, the 5th or 6th year of this league. Some fantastic anglers fish it, like Nick Speed, Paul Wright, some really good local anglers as well. So to get your name on the title's a brilliant one.
Well, you didn't just get it on the name on the title, you actually won it with £555 in a cumulative weight over the series. That in itself is a phenomenal weight through the winter.
Yeah, yes, testament to the venue, obviously how good the fishing is here at Lindholme throughout the cooler months. But also I think there's a few little tweaks that do sort of help you put those extra few pounds in the net when on a weight league. It's massive, isn't it, come the final result? So it really is a fantastic achievement, but what has actually given you the edge over the other anglers? Yeah, obviously the standard of angling is phenomenal now. So I think it's a culmination of a few little things that are really helping put those extra few pounds in the net, so to speak. I think the new mini pellet methods are fantastic. They've been a godsend, especially when you want to deliver accurate piles of bait in the cooler months, fish for one fish at a time. I think the raised walls help protect the bait on impact, deliver it accurately to the bottom. But also because either end of the feeder is open, when you pick the rod up to retrieve the feeder, the bait evacuates the feeder precisely where you're casting, rather than spreading it over a feeding zone. You've got a nice concentrated area which allows you to build a swim over time. And I suppose with them being the mini pellet feeders now, you're never really introducing too much bait at one time. Yeah, you're in control of the volume of bait in your peg all the time. It's basically a mouthful. You're setting a trap, catching a fish, and then repeating the process. And for me, they've been absolutely perfect all winter. So I'm guessing today, I see you on 35 beaches, another flyer, as the lads would say. Yeah, I've not had many this league, so I thought I'd treat myself coming out with you and the cameras, so here I am. Super stuff. I'm guessing you're fishing with a mini pellet method feeder now. Would you mind winding and just showing us how you fill up this feeder? Yeah, no problem at all. So this little beauty is what has done it for me this winter. I can't stress you how much I've relied on this feeder during this campaign for a lot of my weights. I would have been absolutely lost without it. So is that the 25 or the 15 gram you've used today? For me, my go-to is always a 25 gram mini pellet method. It's a bit of a rarity here at Lindholme for it to be flat calm, and I just think the versatility this feeder gives you. I could basically sit anywhere on the complex, put one feeder on, and I'm done. It keeps it nice and simple. So what are the main advantages for you then by using this feeder over the others? For me, it's the volume of bait on the feeder. It's enough to catch a fish, but not leave excess bait in the peg. I'm not feeding the fish. I'm looking to catch the fish, not necessarily feed them with volumes of bait. The other beauty for me as well is the open ends. So especially in the cooler months when you're casting in, getting a bite, you want a nice concentrated feed area to home them fish on. They're not necessarily feeding aggressively, they're not moving so much. So the tighter I can keep everything, along with accurate casting, this feed is aiding to create a nice concentrated pile of bait. And I really do think that's helped put extra fish in the net come the end of the matches.
Well, I remember when we were designing these feeders, or I should say Alan Scott when he was designing these feeders with our design team, they spent a lot of time with the side of the teeth, actually how many should be on the feeder, how far they should stand out, what material, and it looks like we've got it right.
Oh, they're phenomenal really. Alan has done a fantastic job of designing these, and I think the beauty of the teeth on these feeders, especially on sites such as Loco, Benny's, when you're fishing in that 8-10 foot of water, maybe even deeper, you can cast in, you can sit there 5, 10, 15 minutes confident that your bait's been delivered to the bottom intact.
So the bit that I'm excited for, Alex, would you mind showing me how you load this actual pellet method feeder up?
Yeah, no problem at all. So for me, what's important is to have a really nice firm base in the feeder. So I'm going to almost fill the frame to the brim. And I found with these feeders, the higher you have your hook bait within the feeder, the faster the bites. It was after a conversation with Alan really. He put me onto this, and as usual he's correct. So then I place the hook bait nice and high, and I don't press the hook bait in. I don't want that wedged into the feeder. I'm quite happy for that to come free quite quickly, and because I'm always going to have that retention of bait because of the teeth on the feeder. So that's going to be, the base layer is going to be within the feeder. The hook bait becomes visible quite quick, and basically the top layer of pellets is just to protect the hook bait on impact. So I'm going to cover that over and just thumb them down. And I don't mind, as you can see, the hook bait just protruding ever so slightly, because that means it's going to be free and fishing very quickly. A lot of the times throughout this league I've cast in and had a bite within 1 to 2 minutes, and if you're considering the time of year, it's a very fast bite time. And those few fish, especially when it might be the harder days, 40 to 50 pounds a good weight, if you can sneak those 2 or 3 fish quick bites, they can, you know, it's the difference between winning and framing, or framing and just having an average sort of day.
Well, that how you've loaded that looks like the perfect trap.
Yeah, and I think that's what these feeders are about. It's about setting a trap, a small pile of bait, enough to get a bite, and then a case of repeating the process.
So Alex, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Let's cast this out there and see how long it takes to get a bite.
No problem at all.
Oh, now that's gone in with a lovely little plop.
Yeah, I think what it is with these feeders, they're designed with a weight forward bias. So in turn, if you're hitting your line clip correctly and feathering the feeder in, that weight and that design is going to help you achieve that nice presentation on the bottom. It's so important to make the feeder land weight first. So what that's doing is it's protecting the bait on impact. So you're delivering the perfect parcel to the bottom and setting the perfect trap to hopefully come back with a carp or an F1.
Right, let's have a see. I'm sure I've just seen the tip move already then. Was that a liner, do you think, or is it too early to be getting liners?
We don't mind an odd liner, but you know, hopefully it's not going to be too long till we're into a fish. It is still quite early in the session, so fingers crossed, they're obliging for us. Oh, God.
Well, that is amazing. How long has that been in? 2 minutes?
If that, I think, to be honest, it was a fast bite.
Well, one thing that was so obvious there was just what a positive bite. Considering the water is still the water temperature is still very cold, what a positive bite.
Yeah, I think what it is, because everything's so compact and such a concentrated feed area, it means the fish have no option but to take the hook bait. So as a result, you get really positive bites as such. So here's a nice F1.
They don't have to fight hard considering it's so cold.
Yeah, it's definitely spirited, aren't they? But as you can see with that, if we just let a bit of line out, how well that hook hold is. you know, he's never coming off. And I think when you have a really good presentation as you get with these feeders and everything's set properly, you can confidently say that that fish is going to end up in the net, which at this time of year is a massive, massive thing for me.
So just while you've got the rig out of the water now, do you want to just run me through what hook and hook length you're using?
Yeah, so we'll start with the hook length line. For me, especially in the cooler months, I just fish 0.15. That's the suplex for the mono. I think it's a lovely supple line, so it works well with the feeder when you're folding a hook bait over and placing it within the feeder. Never had any problems. The knot strength superb, so you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And then in terms of the hook, the carp circles have been absolutely phenomenal for me. For all my rod and line work, whether it's feeder, bomb, even in some instances waggler fishing, the carp circle, it's just been fantastic. I think with that circle profile of the hook, once that hook turns into the fish's mouth, it's never coming out.
And you're using just, is it just a spike?
Yep, just a small bait spike. Our one's fantastic. We've got that little barb, so if you're a tight Yorkshireman like myself, you don't have your wafters coming off every cast, which is fantastic.
Makes sense.
And that's it, dead simple. And I think in fishing, if you can be confident and minimise choice, I think you become very efficient. You're making a lot better decisions, and you're not worrying about the tackle, so to speak. You've got the perfect feeder, along with a hook that's never going to let you down, and it's just a recipe for success as far as I'm concerned.
And you're using just basically just a method connector, so I'm guessing, yep, should you want to change hook length,
yeah,
very straightforward.
It's very easy to change the hook length, but also it gives me option of changing the feeder should I want to step up a size, anything like that. It's very rare I do, but the option is there if I want it.
So come on then, while the cameras are rolling, catch me another fish.
I think that's another beauty of these feeders, how quick and easy they are to load. Especially at venues like this where you're fishing for F1s, you're fishing relatively fast still. So anything that's quicker, more efficient, is always going to be a bonus.
That is the exact same spot.
But again, it's testament to the feeder, isn't it? How that weight forward design just lends itself to accurate casting. So you can imagine, even on those windy, horrible winter's days that we sometimes get up this way, that it's stacking the odds in your favour, which is a massive thing for me. I think the more you can sort of stack the odds in your favour, it's going to give you more chance of bite, so to speak.
I know one thing that people discuss quite in depth is length of rod. I see you're using a 10-foot rod today on this feeder. Particular reason why? Yeah,
so for me, my go-to rod for 99% of my commercial fishing is the Acolyte 10-foot commercial. It's a lovely rod in terms of there's enough power that you can punch a feeder, you know, you can achieve nice distances with it, but yeah, it retains that nice soft tip, that lovely forgiving action when a fish is hooked. You know, I'm happy to fish 0.15 hook lengths, maybe even lighter on occasion if it's needed, and I really could not be without it. That rod with those feeders, for me, that's job done. No need to change anything.
Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. If I could have one rod in my bag and one rod only, that'd be the one. So, this is my second rod. In this league, you're allowed to loose feed with a catapult. So, what you'll find is we'll often start on a method, prime a closer line, and then we'll have a switch later onto a bomb.
So what I've noticed straight away is that's an F1 and Silvers rod.
Yeah, so it's the Acolyte commercial, F1 Silvers 9-foot feeder. What this rod brings to the table for me is it's a lot softer than the original commercial range. The beauty of this is I can fish lighter bombs, lighter hook lengths, and sort of scale everything down to eke out those extra bites in the winter months.
So you're saying you're fishing lighter hook lengths, what are we talking, 0.15 or lighter?
No, 0.12s, 0.13s.
Right.
And even with the size of these fish. What I try to do with all this style of fishing, I relate it to my pole fishing. So in winter, if you fish nice light lines for F1s, you get more bites.
You get more bites,
so
right.
This is, in theory, the same, just further away from yourself.
And just a standard monofilament hook length for?
This is where I differ slightly. I'm a big fan of fluorocarbon hook lengths for bomb fishing. The beauty of them is it's a slightly stiffer material, so it helps prevent any wrap overs or any slight tangles and kicks the hook bait away from the bomb on the cast. And also it's the properties that it's nigh on invisible in water, so because of the extra length, I think any sort of disguise I can give to that hook length, it can only be beneficial.
Of course, and your results are proving it.
Yeah, dead simple setup, nice inline bomb, just down to a mini quick change speed. It allows me to vary my hook baits between pellets, corn, whatever is suited to the day. And then again, going back to the carp circles, one of them in a 16 has been perfect for me.
Just with a band on and a single pellet. So that was a winning tactic then?
Yeah, it's definitely helped me put those extra fish in the net during the league.
So fishing with this straight lead setup, how do you actually fish accurately? What distance do you know you're casting to all the time?
So I've got a little routine I go through to help create a nice area and ensure I'm happy that bomb's always over the loose feed. So I'd always feed and then cast into the ripples that loose feed's making. So what I do, get my rod, it's all baited, position myself in a position to cast and have the rod set, strap it between my knees, leaves me both hands free. What I can then do, pick the catapult up and fill it with pellets, line everything up with a far bank marker, and if I lock my arms every time I feed, we're going to go to the same distance. Keep an eye on those ripples.
Straight in the middle.
And plop him into them. Then I can just tighten up ever so slightly to a bomb. See, it's, with it being a nice light bomb, you have to take that time to tighten up. You don't want to rush this part. So get everything nice and set, and then we are ready to go. And the beauty with these Acolyte F1s and Silvers rods, because the tips are so soft, it gives you a very nice reading of what's happening in the peg. Those liners and little indications are really exaggerated. Helps you read what's going on. Because often on this line it's a case of building it up, as we said. So if after say 5-10 minutes I'm not getting any signs or any indications, it can very quickly be back out on that pellet method feeder. You see the lines just sinking nicely there. Just take your time, just tighten up to the bomb. Then hopefully we're not too far away from having another bite. There we go. Proof is in the pudding, as we say.
What an amazing bite.
Yeah, but you see how that rod just cushions everything beautifully, especially with those lighter hook lengths. Just helps make sure you're never going to, accidentally break the hook length. See, as well, it just lets you take your time, just cushions everything beautifully. Got that clutch set nice and soft, so if a fish wants to run, he can do. We're about in a position to net him. There he is. Got him.
That's a big F1, Alex.
Yeah, lovely fish, and it's these sort of fish in the league that are the real game changers. A handful of these each match, and you're ticking along lovely, really.
Well, really appreciate you sharing your tactics with us today, mate, and congratulations on winning the league. Fantastic result. I'm going to get off and let you do a bit more fishing, mate.
No problem at all. Thank
See
you very
later,
much.
my buddy.